Welcome back everybody to part 2 of the Heathkit HW-101 series. In the last one we worked on the power supply. I think we've got that taken care of. I've shot a lot of video working on this, and I hope I can put together something. And in the middle of all this, I went on vacation up to Maine for a couple of weeks, so hope I can piece this together. But I think the biggest thing I want people to get out of this video is the capacitors that needs to be changed and some of the resistors that need to be changed. I want to point those out because when I approached this, I bought that kit from Hayseed Hamfest. I went blank there, which was for the HW-100 on Anor / HW-101. And so talking to them, they went a shotgun approach, and I don't think that anybody had recommended that these had problems with them or anything like that. It was just we're going after the capacitors and change them out, and that's where the kit came from. So I wanted to point those out, the locations of them and some of the resistors we've run into problems with. So that's the purpose of this video. And I am not where I need to be on this set. At the end, I still have some problems with it, which we will address in part 3 further down the line. But we're going to try to get this back up to where it needs to be. So like I say, I hope I can piece this together where it'll make a little bit of sense. Well, I was going to go to the next section of the manual, and that was to align the receiver. And I got to thinking, and I actually started, and I set the heterodyne oscillator output, went through it and set it, and then I got to thinking, I said, hey, if I change these components, which I know I'm going to change some capacitors and may change some resistors, and so why go through that step until after I change? And I think I had told you that I had ordered a kit from Hayseed, and this is a HW-101 capacitor replacement kit. And so I bought that, got to looking, and it really didn't say, and I got to reading a lot of information, and a lot of the information, all I could see and hear and read and all that was change the electrolytics. Okay, I can find the electrolytics. Well, this kit has more than electrolytics. So I went back to Hayseed and talked to Tom Farland, and I asked him, I said, how did you come up with this list? And he said, well, we sent, and I asked him about cross-referencing parts numbers, and he said, well, we send a thing. He said, I got to asking around. He said, I thought we were sending a slip out with a cross-reference to the Heathkit part number. And he asked his people working, and they said, we talked about it, but we never did it. So he sent me some cross-references on what the part numbers for the Heathkit was. So I also asked him, I said, well, now, apparently you had to develop this list of capacitors. Where and what source did you come from and everything like that? And it was various articles, various authors, and it was basically a shotgun effect, shotgun approach, I should say, where you definitely change the electrolytics, but it's also some of the others. The disc capacitors, they're probably going to be fine. The micas are going to be fine, but the polys are probably need to be changed out. So there's no real instructions anywhere on where these are located. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and show you where the capacitors are located, then I'll change them out. There's also some resistors that I've been reading that needs to be changed out in this, or needs to be checked and or changed out if necessary, and I'm going to show you those also, so that it's all in one package, one video that shows it, what we need to change. So let me reposition the camera, and then we'll go through the list of capacitors that has to be changed. The first one is the modulator board, which is located in the front left of the chassis. There's two electrolytics. There's one with the high voltage, and that is a 20 microfarad. And the one I'm replacing it with is 450 volts. And I'm not sure what this one is. I think that one may be 350 volts as I read it now. And of course the replacements are going back with higher voltage. There's a small 10 microfarad capacitor, and it's fairly low voltage. I'm replacing it with a 10 microfarad 25 volts, and that is right in there. I think you can see it right there. It's just a little can right there. Then there are 3 0.2 mylar capacitors, which is here, here, and here, and I'm replacing it with the yellow polys, and these are going to be rated at I'm going back with 0.22, and they're at 630 volts. I've already marked the ground side of them. So let's reposition, and then we'll go to the audio board. Okay, it's pretty obvious which one this one is. This is a 20 microfarad. This is the audio board. It's in the far right hand corner. This is a 20 microfarad at 350 volts. And of course we're going to go back with a 20 microfarad at 450 volts. That is the only capacitor on this board that needs to be changed. Now there's 3 resistors on here. I'll go ahead and point those out right now. These 2 power resistors in the voltage regulation circuit, and then this 3.3K, it's on the audio board there. So we'll check those at a later time. Now we're looking at the IF board, which is in the front right hand corner next to the front panel. In that there's 1 mylar 0.2, which is located right there, and then there is a 1 microfarad tubular, which is right there, which needs to be replaced. And here is the IF board. So you can look right here. Here's a 10 microfarad electrolytic. I think that's about 10 microfarads at 15 volts, and of course we're replacing it with a 10 microfarad at 25 volts. There's also just 1 0.2 microfarad mylar, which is this one, and it is a different one from the other one. This one is a 0.22, so this one may very well have been changed in the past, or it could have been just what they had on hand. So that's all the ones that's on the top, and now there's some up under the bottom that I will show you where it has to be replaced. Okay, underneath the chassis there is a 0.2 mylar, and this is in the final under the 6146 tubes. It's down on this terminal strip in here. Now the other ones, they're all pretty much together. There is an electrolytic here in the ALC circuit from this board. This is a 10 microfarad at 150 volts or so. We're replacing it with the 10 microfarad at 160 volts. Here is a 0.05 tubular capacitor that has to be changed, and then in the CW circuit itself up in here, right there is another 0.2 mylar that's got to be changed. So that's all that's on the list to be changed. Now let me go and make sure we get, I'll show you where all the resistors are that we've got to check. I should check all of them, but I'll show you when I get on top side. The reason I'm not going to check every one of them, I don't think. I decided just go ahead and check the resistors as I was showing them to you, especially the ones on the bottom. This first one is on the 6146, the control grid, which is pin 5. I've got it clipped to that. Now the other end of it will go up to the bias control, which is right behind here. It's a potentiometer, and from there to the center should be 10K. Sometimes if the pot is open or the resistor's open, so let's put that on there, and it's reading, I don't think you can get any closer than that. That's pretty cool. All right, let me readjust the camera and we'll go back down into that compartment. Okay, on the bottom of the 6146s, there is a 100 ohm resistor right there, and that is on the screen of the 6146. So let's check that. That should be checked. And as you can see, it's setting at 100 ohms, so that's good deal. Now there's a 2.2 ohm, a red gold, which is on the cathodes, and it gets kind of stressed out if it goes, if you keep it out of tune and run it stresses, it puts too much stress, too much current through it. So let's check it. 2.2 ohms. There's 2.8 ohms, 2.7. I think at 2.5, 2.4. So I think those are okay. On the bottom, that's on all the ones that are on the bottom that we need to check. So let's go to the top side, and we'll go ahead and check the ones that are that need it, and I'll show you the locations of them. Okay, on these power resistors on the back one is a 1K resistor. Remember, these are in circuit. We don't know what we're going to get, so let's see. But they typically either open up or go way bad. So 268 ohms, should be 1K. We'll pull the end off that later on when I change that capacitor, and we'll verify, make sure that's okay, but I think that's going to be okay. And then this one is a 2.5K or 2500 ohm resistor. Let's see what we get here. There's a 2.494, so I think that's okay. Now here is the, well, you can't see it, can you? It's hard to get everything where you can see it. There's a 3.3K, 3300 ohm, in other words. Did I say that right? Let's see what that says. That's right around 3.3. That's pretty good there. Okay, let's move the camera. Okay, the other thing to look is right in this area here. In the early versions of this, between the IF board and the bandpass board, there used to some of them had a 10K resistor from this point to this point, from 0.3 to 0.27. So recommended to just take that out and put a jumper wire in there. Also, there is a 1 watt 22K resistor. Some of them have been changed to a 23K, but they're suspect anyway. So this one is supposed to be 22K. We will check it, and it is reading right at 20K or so. May go up a little more as something charges. So I think that's okay. Also, right here to the left of V3 is a 100K resistor. And so it is recommended to change it to a 1 watt. And let's check it. And this one is already a 1 watt resistor, so I think this one may have already been changed. I don't know. So anyway, it's reading. Well, it's charging now. So it has not increased in value. So we may pull the lead and check it later, because I'm going to be soldering underneath with these capacitors, so I'll just check that one later. But those are the resistors that needs to be checked out. These in the back are 7 watt, and if you go back, I would go back with a 10 watt. So I'm gonna go ahead and go off camera and change all these capacitors out and check those resistors. If I find anything, I'll let you know. I replaced that 20 microfarad electrolytic here. I pushed it as far that way as I possibly could to get it away from this this tube, because this is a pretty warm tube. I think if you can look at the other one, see how discolored it is from the heat. So hopefully, now I've read articles where people have mounted these under the bottom, but I believe this is short enough and far enough that it won't be a problem. Let me show you something else. I've replaced this 0.05 microfarad capacitor and this 0.22 microfarad capacitor. Remember we talked about those power resistors on the back? I disconnect them. Let me show you what I found. Okay, I've hooked it up to, dropped one end of this 2500 ohm resistor. As you can see, it's almost 2600, so that's okay. Now the 1000 ohm resistor, I pulled it out all the way, because I pulled one end of it out, and then when I read it, I realized I needed to pull it all the way out. That's reading 269 ohms, and it's supposed to be 1000 ohms. So I'm going to have to replace that one. I'll go ahead and tack this one back in, or solder this one back in, and go ahead and get this. I don't know if I've got one. I'll look and see. But I think this is a 7 watt, and I'll end up putting a 10 watt in there. So let me look around and see if I can find one. If I can't, then I'm going to have to make an order. Well, today wife went to clean the pool strainer out, and guess what she found? She found another one. So here we go. We're gonna look at the markings on his belly. Aren't those nice? So we're just gonna, I brought him down here to the lake, and maybe he'll don't freeze up on me now. Go. There you go. Looks awful small in that big water. Fish come up and get him, huh? There he goes. He's long gone. This is the down below my house. No, this is not my dock. This is a public boat dock, and but this is my view. I live up on the hill that way, but I guess it's not really my view unless I walk down here. I can see parts of this from my house, but this is it. And here's the marina down here. But I've got 2 of them back to the water. hopefully a lot more made it, but I've said before I've gotten up to 6 in my pool during a year. But this is the first year in several that I've actually found some turtles. So hopefully they're making a comeback. I replaced this capacitor. That's it's 10 microfarad at 160 volts. I went ahead and put the 2500 ohm resistor back in, and I desoldered the holes, removed some of the solder, and cleaned up a little bit where the 1000 ohm resistor is going to go when it comes. Also went ahead and replaced the 0.2 microfarad capacitor, and while I was there I did some checks, and I'll show you something else I changed. I went ahead and changed this 22K resistor. It was reading like 26, almost 27K, and so that was like 16% out. So while I was here, I just went ahead and replaced it. That concludes everything that's on the bottom. Got a few resistors I want to check, just because I can. Not that they've been pointed out by anybody in the past. It's just the right thing to do while you're here. I'm making progress. I've replaced this 0.22, this 10 microfarad here, and now I'm working on the IF board. Here's a 0.22, if you'll remember, or 0.2. I've already desoldered it, but this is a unique. It's got the resistor and the capacitor mounted together. This is a 4.7K. The resistor looks good, but I'm just going to replace the resistor, and because once you heat this, I mean, I can probably use it, but I've got them in stock. It's not a big deal, so I'm just going to make one up and put it right back in, same situation. Then this tubular's got to come out. Maybe a good time to pull it out and replace it before I even do this one. I pulled the 0.2 microfarad out here. I've already replaced this. You can see it, I think, right there. The 10 microfarad. But I pulled the 0.2 microfarad out. I noticed there wasn't a 33K resistor. I went under the bottom, and it was mounted under the bottom, which I'm probably going to change it because it's like 36, 37K. But apparently this may have been bad, or maybe forgotten. I doubt it. I think they probably just clipped it out and put it on the bottom because of that capacitor being there, because it was almost hidden by the capacitor. I ordered the 1K power resistor from Mouser. This is a Yageo, Y-A-G-E-O brand. It's 10 watt, 5%, 1K. Got it raised up. Of course, these other power resistors were raised up off the board for heat dissipation. So since this one is a little bit longer than the original, you have to curve the leads in a little bit. So that's okay. I just raised it up a little bit higher, and it's not going to hurt anything. It's not going to be in the way of anything. So you know, we had tested it in circuit before, and it was reading 267. I thought, well, that might be good because it was in circuit. So let's check it in circuit now and see what we've got. Just because now we're reading about 960. It's going up. I guess some charging going on there. So just under 1K, which sometimes when you're checking things in circuit, it's usually lower. And so that's why I decided to go ahead and pull the lead off of that and check it out of circuit, and come find out it was really, really bad. So the value had went down on it, which I can't say that I've ever seen one of those go down like that. So, but you know, it's always a first. But I thought I'd show you these two when I checked them in line or in the circuit are very, very close. So I learned something on that one. So, but I wanted to pass that along. Anybody that's coming along, you can check those in circuit and get a pretty good reading. I'm changing the electrolytic in the modulator board, and as you can see here, it's already starting to boil out there. So it was time to replace that one for sure. Okay, I replaced this 100K resistor over here. It was probably 83%, but I went ahead and just changed it while I was there. Went ahead and I changed these 2.2 capacitors and this electrolytic. Now, if you'll notice, I bought some drive belts. There's a guy out of Korea. These are made out of silicon and claiming that they're going to last 10 years. If this lasts 10 years, I'm not going to have to worry about it. But I could have went with the just the O-rings. They're cheap. You can go to the auto parts store, buy the O-ring material, come back, make the belts, and just super glue it. That's all you got to do. But these are real pliable. I really like them. They cost a little bit, but once I button this up, I don't want to have to mess with it again. So I think this tube shield goes on here. I remember where I put it. Don't know why I took it off, but I guess I might have been testing tubes early on in life. I don't know. But I'll put that on, and then I think we're ready to start an alignment on this. I got everything recapped and went through the alignment, and it seemed to do okay. However, when I went to do hook up the microphone, I didn't get any I could get output as far as CW or continuous wave and in the tune mode, but I couldn't get the microphone to modulate. So went through, found an open 100K resistor, replaced it, still didn't fix it. However, when I desoldered it, I desoldered too much, and one of the other components had been had a bad solder joint that I created after I replaced the part. So got that going. Went through the alignment, seemed to work pretty good. As you can tell by the watt meter. Key it up. I'm on a dummy load, not on an antenna. As you can see, it's right at 100 watts or so. And if I key the mic, hola, hola, test, test, test. So you can see that it's working. However, I do have a problem with the Vox circuit. The Vox will not pull in. So that's okay for now. What I think I'm going to do is take it down to my shack, put it on an antenna, and try it on the air. Then come back and redo that. Put it back together, do a final demonstration down in the shack in the next video. But that's going to do it for now. We're going to see how it works on the air. May have to do some more fine tuning, and also have to do I still hadn't checked all the tubes. So it seems to be working okay other than that. So I appreciate y'all following me. I hope that this video is not too pieced together. I went to Maine in the middle of them. I went on vacation for a couple of weeks, so I had to pick up where I left off. So, but the main thing I want to do is to show all the components that needed to be changed as a shotgun change out, and also some of the resistors that needed to be, and actually found one. And I never did think that I tried a microphone on it one time. I never did get any modulation, never got any voice out, and I said, well, my mic was messed up. So I really think that it never did work. I did. So anyway, that's going to be it for this one. So from Larry from the hills of Tennessee, thanks for watching.